Hey, what's up, YouTube? Just want to do kind of like an update on the Craftsman LT1000. I have another video I posted, I don't know how long ago that was, but just pretty much went over the wiring that when I replaced the engine in it, and so that kind of brings us up to speed as far as the video that I'm doing today. Just want to let you guys know that I am on engine number 4 now. This will be the 4th engine that this lawnmower's had in it. I believe it's actually 5 if I remember correctly. The lady I'd gotten the mower from, she had bought it from Sears, and apparently had issues with the motor, and Sears came out and put another engine in it, and then I got it and it ran for a little bit. It had the 17.5 horsepower in it, overhead valve, and it ran for a little bit, and then the compression relief mechanism on the cam broke, so it wouldn't let it spin over and start. And so I pulled that motor off, and I actually put on I believe it was a 12 horse flathead, and I think I had it on there maybe a month, if that. I don't even think I made it that long before it threw the rod. And the guy that I bought it from, he actually runs like a mower salvage yard, and so I just called him and I said, hey, that engine just puked a rod, and he's like, well, come over and pick you out another one. So I went over there and got a 13 horse cast iron sleeve, and in the last video and in the video that I have on YouTube that's titled LT1000 Rewired, that's the motor you'll see in that video. However, that's not the motor you see here. Even though it looks a lot like it, it's not. It's not the same motor at all. And if you just look at closely, there's some small details that makes it different, and I'm fixing to cover those. But anyway, first to tell y'all why the 13 horse had to come out. I went out and cut my grass and worked around my yard and stuff, and the mower did perfect and great, and I pulled up here to my garage, fixing to pull it in my garage and park it, and I noticed how dirty it was, so I was just going to give it a quick wipe down real quick and kind of clean it up a little bit before I put it up. And as soon as I shut the motor off, I heard like metal clang hit the ground, hit the driveway underneath it. So I looked underneath the motor, and sure enough, there's a bolt laying underneath. And the bolt that holds on the drive pulley on the bottom of the motor had actually snapped off up inside the crank. And was able to get a hole drilled through the middle of the bolt, and got an easy out in it, and then broke the easy out off in the bolt. And so I was pretty much just screwed, and looking for ways to fix it and get the mower back up and going, because I have to have it to cut the yard. And so I started talking to a buddy of mine, and he said his uncle had a few junk mowers, and that he'd be willing to let me just pick through and find one for free, and just whatever I wanted. And so I went over there, and he had a Murray Brute riding mower, and it had this motor in it. Now, when you look at the motor there, I don't like the look of the new motors. I'd rather have the older look, the metal here, and the air filter. But you'll notice, like this right here, if anybody is out there familiar with the older flatheads, or even the older overhead valves, this is not the correct dipstick for this. And but I was able to make it work. But I just wanted that older look to it. But again, you'll see right there, there's the valve cover right there. And so, I mean, I don't know, it just seems like more maintenance, but it was a step up. And what do I mean by a step up? Well, let me show you by the original engine cover that is supposed to be on the top of that motor. That's what's supposed to be on top of the motor, right there. You'll see 540 cc, 21 gross horsepower. Now I know that Briggs & Stratton has had to since then stop advertising the horsepower, but that's what it was originally. That's what the original engine cover that's supposed to be on there. Anyway, so far so good. It's been running pretty good. But to tell you what happened, when I was over there at his uncle's, at my friend's uncle's house, and looking at engines and stuff, he said, you know, long story short, that this engine had hydrolocked. If anybody knows what that is, hydrolock means it just flooded itself out, filled up the cylinder full of gas, wouldn't spin over. And his words exactly were, well, it just spit out a big white cloud of smoke and then died and then wouldn't start back up. And so I told my buddy, I said, well, pull that dipstick. I bet you it's way over full and it smells like gasoline. And sure enough, I was right. It was way over full and full of gasoline. So that was the first thing I had to do when I got it home was to drain all the oil out and put fresh oil in it. And thankfully, my 13 horse carburetor, I believe it's, I don't know if it's what brand it is. It's not the Nicky carburetor, but it was still in good shape because I used the I still use that fuel shutoff that I showed y'all in the video, Craftsman LT1000 rewired. That's because I still use that to cut off the mower. And yes, that's what this is. This is a kill switch here, as I showed you in the video, but I don't kill it with that. I kill it with the fuel shutoff valve, so that way the gas isn't setting in the carburetor. Anyway, so I was able to just put my carburetor on there from the 13 horse, and it's been doing great. It's been running good. It runs great. It starts up. It really maintains a good oil level. The 13 horse, I was all the time having to add oil to it. Even though it ran really good, it was an exceptional motor. It still ran. That's the thing that sucked about it. It still ran the day I took it off of this mower. The engine still ran, even though it had the broke off bolt in it. But I just couldn't do anything with it. So, but anyway, I started watching a bunch of videos about hydrolock and stuff, and it wasn't my first time to have to deal with it, but I watched a bunch of videos and a bunch of people talking about what causes hydrolock, and so I just wanted to discuss with y'all what I've found and what I discovered, and when I took the carburetor apart, and I may be going to go to put that back on there. Here's the original carburetor right here. It's the Nicky carburetor that was originally on this mower, and I may go to put that back on there. I've already cleaned it and all of that and figured out what was wrong, and that's why another reason why I'm making this video, because there's so many videos out there that go back and forth as to what causes hydrolock and what causes it to do that, and blah 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 blah. And some people say it's the floats and the I forget what that word is for that part that's connected to the float in there, and then other people say it's this right here, that it's that, and then I've watched videos where they said that this does not cause flooding, that what causes the flooding is the bowl in there not working properly, and the needle, that's what it is, the needle valve in there is not working correctly. I believe there's a video out there by a guy named Terrell that I watched on YouTube, and there's been quite a few videos I watched on there about, they said that this does not cause that hydrolock, it does not cause it to flood, but it's that in there. And so what I've discovered is, when I tore this carburetor apart, again, like I said, this engine was hydrolocked. It was full of gasoline in the crankcase, and when I took this carburetor apart, actually the first thing I did was I didn't even take the carburetor apart. I took this out and touched those wires to battery, and this was stuck open. It's stuck in this position here. It was stuck, and And then when I tore into the carburetor and everything actually inside of the carburetor looked perfect. Everything looked great. I know on one of Terrell's videos, he was talking about having to heat up the float, and because the float wasn't setting right, and getting it to set right again or whatever. And this one was perfect. It's the right level. It was right. Everything was right. And the needle seat wasn't stuck. It wasn't corroded. It wasn't dirty. The only thing that I found that was corroded and dirty in that entire carburetor was this. So if this doesn't cause hydrolock and doesn't cause that to happen, then somebody please comment and subscribe or something. Let me know what y'all come up with. But that's the only thing I could find. For all those videos out there that say that this doesn't cause hydrolock and this doesn't cause the crankcase to fill up with gasoline. However, this was the only thing that was really the big major problem in that whole carburetor, was this was stuck and dirty. So if that doesn't cause it, then what caused it? So, and I would like to know if somebody could tell me before I go putting this on, because like I said, I'm thinking about putting it back on the engine. And so if anybody knows, I would like to know before I do that. Again, I just can't believe that all those videos that say that this doesn't that this doesn't affect that. Well, then something, it had to have been something. But I can tell you that the float wasn't bent, the needle seat wasn't stuck, it wasn't dirty, none of that. So had to be something. So anyway, that's just kind of an update on the lawnmower, on my Craftsman. Again, you know, I don't know what to think about these overhead valve engines. I really love the flathead engines. I know that one of the things that I got to do now is I've got to adjust those valves annually, every 6 months to a year is the way I understood it, or however so many hours it's used the lawnmower. And I'm pretty sure if I was using it like a commercial use, then yes, I'd probably have to adjust those valves like every 6 months. But since I'm just using it for personal use on my personal yard, then I'm probably just going to adjust those valves once a year. I mean, I don't know if you guys have any comments again or anything on that. Also, what you guys think about me putting the old-fashioned metal, the tin parts on there, rather than using the plastic newer stuff. What do you all think about that? I like it. I'm more old-fashioned, and so I just like it. So, but I'm always down for a conversation or what you guys think about it. Anyway, so I'm going to sign off for now. Just again, like I said, wanted to make an update on the Craftsman riding mower here. So I'll await for you guys' comments. Thank you guys. Have a good one.